guys, follow me on Instagram to never ever miss any of my crazy updates. Hi guys, and welcome to another vlog. I am driving the Maruti Suzuki S-Presso. Straight away we are going to open the engine bay of this vehicle, and as you can see, the motor does vibrate a lot because it is of course a 3-cylinder engine. No insulation right there, and this is sort of a mini SUV. Yeah, it is positioned as a mini SUV, but it is not an SUV in any way. However, because the height of this car is more than the width of this car, it kind of looks ungainly, and this design is a love it or a hate it. Okay, now the light is, it's a normal affair, but this is an LED DRL, which by the way is an optional accessory. So are these chrome inserts here on the grille, but how can you call this a grille? It does not have anything to breathe. A grille should have something open enough to breathe, right? Okay, now the bumper is finished in black, so a lot of smart stuff on this vehicle to cut costs. But what I don't like at all are the wheels, rather the gap between the body and the wheels. It looks very ungainly somehow. Anyways, the car is running on 165/70 14 inches, and from the side again it's super plain, super basic, no design element as such to talk about because it's very boxy. But because the hood is like high raised, high, and all those stuff, like SUV elements have been pushed through in this vehicle to give it that SUV appeal. After all, it is a rival to the Renault Kwid, but it doesn't look really impressive from certain angles. And again, the rear is also very plain. You get a black bumper here, the lights, okay, there's nothing to talk about the lights either. So the design is only the gripe with this vehicle, which I personally have, because I feel it just looks ungainly from many angles. Specifically, it looks like a box, okay, but they've tried to make it a mini chimney somehow. However, it just doesn't work in the sense that it just looks outright ungainly. Now, I've specified so much on ungainly that I feel guilty of being biased against this car, but trust me, see the full vlog, you will know why I actually love this vehicle. Faisal, what are you talking? All right, okay. Now up front, as I was talking about, it is taller than it is wider, and that's the reason for the ungainliness. Sort of a KUV appeal here, but it shouldn't look like a KUV. It should look like a Kwid, right? Anyways, forget the design, let's not talk about it because there's not much to talk about. It has good amount of ground clearance, by the way, which is unnecessary. Okay, let's do Swachh Bharat and pick this tissue paper who is thrown. I have no idea. Anyways, what I'm saying is, okay, there are no door pockets at the rear, so you have to keep it here. And there are no power windows at the rear either. Anyways, so what I was saying is the ground clearance is massive, rather by small car standards. And although the boot is big enough, the loading lip is a bit high and the floor is little low, which means that it's not the easiest to stuff in things here. Spare wheel isn't an alloy because the main wheel isn't an alloy, and the spare wheel, okay, how do we access it? Now this can get a little challenging. Okay, this opening thing is, yeah, there is the spare wheel of the vehicle, and obviously because the regular wheel is a wheel cap, same is the case here as well. The parcel shelf, you can actually recline this in one piece to increase the boot carrying capacity, but the boot is decent enough by small car standards. S-Presso written right there. Motive sticker 2, which actually increases the horsepower. Meanwhile, you see it gets reverse parking sensors, and this is actually a tall car, but space at the rear is quite good. Yeah, there's good amount of space at the rear. OMG, there is really good amount of space at the rear. You can stretch actually. Good amount of leg room, good amount of knee room, no scooped out seat back, no magazine holder, storage space here, but that is the only storage space here at the rear. Fixed headrest, which is not really a good thing. Good amount of headroom on offer, 2 handles here. All the headrests of the vehicle are fixed, which is kind of unfortunate because that really doesn't bode well in terms of safety in a rear end collision. Anyways, whiplash injury. You can see door pockets are big enough at the front. The seat is placed a little high, and for a tall passenger like me, I think I'm sitting on top of the roof while driving the car because seat does not get height adjust. There is no dedicated dead pedal as such, but there's enough area to keep your left foot. Anyways, this is kind of weird, but this is actually the headlight leveler. There's storage space here. This is the optional DRL button, and to turn this on, okay, you have to keep it pressed. Yeah, and then it keeps blinking. There are a lot of dummy buttons in this car. Dummy. Okay, let's start the DRL right now, and the DRL is activated. I'll show that to you right away as well. So here it is. It's a bright LED DRL. Optional, of course, you need to turn it on, so it's not really a DRL. It is something which you need to turn on, so it's another light probably. Now, as you can see, the front seats are comfortable enough. Meanwhile, okay, it does not get passive entry, it doesn't get push button start, none of that. Dashboard design actually looks quite nice because of this texture here as well. But they try to do a mini with the center mounted speedometer. Here's a tip: if it ain't broke, don't fix it. When it was positioned here, the instrument cluster, it wasn't broke. Why shift it in the center? It's an ergonomic disaster, I feel. Rather, it's an ergonomic inconvenience, because power window switches here. Why just keep them on the door? Same is the case here. The instrument cluster is here. Digital speedometer, no tachometer, telltale lights, fuel meter, and that is the odometer. Twin trip meters are here as well. It will tell you real-time mileage. It will tell you actually average fuel economy as well as distance to empty. So all these functions are available here. But honestly, why do all this when it was so simple, when it was right in front? Because in the night, it'll feel really weird and awkward when you're driving the car. You're like, oh my god, what has happened? Anyways, you get this beautiful treatment here, this color, which actually uplifts the ambience of the cabin. Glove box is decent sized, and above the glove box, yeah, what happened? Yeah. Above the glove box also there's storage space. There's good amount of storage space at the front, but there's no storage space at the rear as such. So here below the handbrake as well, you can keep stuff. Twin cup holders here, the storage space here as well, and there's a USB as well as an aux port here, a 12-volt charging socket. These are the controls for the air conditioning, and this is the infotainment screen, which I don't know for what reason is turned off. All right, and it's the Smart Play Studio. It gets Apple CarPlay, it gets Android Auto connectivity, no reverse parking camera, but it does get reverse parking sensors, and it's a slick unit, very easy to use and very nice as well. Like, it gives you a lot of information as well. That's really very nice. I like it, and it also gives vehicle alerts here. So steering is nice to hold. It gets audio control, so volume control, mode selector, forward or behind a song, and to pick up or reject a phone call. This is for the voice command. The steering actually feels quite nice. Internally adjustable rear view mirrors, which is again a very nice thing. And you don't get a mirror here, neither do you get a mirror here. And this, forget being auto dimming, it has no dimming whatsoever, so you might as well keep it like this if there is glare which is coming from behind. Anyways, let's play an audio right away. Lekin mera
It's good till it doesn't. It was the first real lover. Here's to till he had another. Oh girl.
audio quality is decent for a small car. It's good enough, but the build quality is not that robust. That, you know, things will not vibrate when you turn on the volume. It does happen. Anyways, airbag is standard across all trims, but a side airbag, that is optional on lower trims. You pay rupees 5,000 extra for the safety of your co-passenger, but that is standard on the VXI Plus trim, a side airbag. So in terms of features and all, I mean, it has decent amount of equipment for the price and for the segment as well. Someone turn this around. Anyways, it's time to drive. There's a light here. OMG, there's a light here. There's no light in the center. Nobody needs a light in the center. No one's going to sit in the rear. Yeah, this is for the Bluetooth connectivity, but that, you know, a lot of exposed metal as such. So, you know, plastic quality, okay, decent enough. Yeah, decent enough for the segment. Anyways, like, you know, see the doors, they feel light. They don't like feel robust as such. And this is the key of the vehicle. So yeah, this happens to be the key. This is the spare key. This is the you know, main key, and there are buttons on this to lock or unlock the vehicle. So it does get central locking. It gets a key as well with remote functions to lock and unlock, which is again a nice thing. But you should have a button to open the boot as well. And this car needs a turbo. No, it does. It does. It doesn't. Let's get going. And what are you trying to do? You can't push.
I can.
Try. Alright, we are all set to go, which means turning off the air conditioning, turning off ESC, turning off ESP, turning off TCS, turning off all electronic aids into first gear, launch control activated. Here, revving the motor, revs nicely, and off we go. That is a lot of wheel spin on offer. You know why? Because this motor is super duper eager. It goes from 0 to 100 kilometers per hour in 13.5 seconds only. And this 1 liter K10B motor really shines, okay? Because performance is really very punchy. It produces 68 horsepower and 90 Newton meters of torque, and the pull is really very nice. It's a very tall geared car in that sense, but it just performs flawlessly well. There is no freaking flat spot. The motor just pulls right from get-go and goes all the way. I don't know what RPM it redlines, but I think it should redline around 6,500 RPM. But the pull is just so freaking linear. There's no flat spot. There is just no hitch whatsoever. It just goes. And goes it does, because Which car do you hear so much wheel spin? Which car, please tell me, because the motor is super punchy. I mean, there is no hitch whatsoever. Get onto the gas and there's immediate response. The response is unbelievable. This engine is absolutely unbelievable. So what are the changes to the K10B? Well, Maruti has upgraded it to meet BS6 emission norms, and the result is that this actually complies with BS6 emission norms. But more than that, because it complies with BS6 emission norms, it is just so much better in terms of overall refinement and smoothness when compared to before, because they've obviously made hardware changes, and that results in the car being super silent at idle, and you know, even in the low end you can't hear much. However, get hard into the throttle and get past the mid-range, it just becomes super duper vocal. It's really very vocal. But I love the gear shifts on this car. I love the clutch is on the lighter side. The gear shift is super smooth. In fact, I would pick this over the AMT just for the super smooth gear shifts. I mean, I love changing the gears. That is the level of smoothness on offer, and that is the level of performance on offer from the S-Presso. Just look at the way it goes. There is a massive pull. This is a very fun car to drive indeed. Only thing is that the steering has absolutely no feel and feedback, because in the center position it just feels so slacky. I mean, just look at it. It doesn't even self-center. That's how bad the steering wheel is for enthusiastic driving. However, it is light at lower speeds. It's easy to twirl as well, and high-speed stability is decent, not really great as such. The major problem lies in the fact that this car, I mean, actually, let's start with the ride quality at lower speeds. Ride quality is really very nice at lower speeds. It glides over the worst of roads. I mean, it does a great job, but there is some amount of stiffness on offer. But as you keep building up the speed, the ride quality just keeps deteriorating, and it deteriorates so badly on the highway and at high speeds that, you know, there's just too much up and down movement happening, and that is not really comforting as such. So when you're driving out on the highway, you can feel the car just not being, you know, really composed as such, especially over bad roads. So this car is really meant for the city, not really for the highway, because of the lack of feel from the steering wheel, the lack of ride quality as well. But overall, for the city, it really performs brilliantly well. It's easy to drive, body roll is well contained, but there's some amount of body roll accentuated by the steering wheel, which is, oh my god, what is happening in the center? And every time you twist it like this, you're like dilly-dallying like it's on a seesaw. And into first gear, revving the motor, the amount of wheel spin on offer is absolutely hilarious, and that's largely because the motor is obviously punchy. The car is super light. It weighs around 730 kgs only, somewhere around that, 750 kgs to be precise, which is super duper light, and the tires not really wide as such. That's the reason it really loves to wheel spin. Top speed should easily nudge past 150 kilometers per hour, but you really need balls of steel to reach there, because it doesn't really feel stable or confidence inspiring because of its lightweight and lack of feel from the steering in the center head position specifically. Braking performance is decent enough because of the lightweight. Again, you don't have much mass to stop as such, and the brakes are positive as well. So the Maruti S-Presso, here's a quick quiz. Okay, what would be the name of the car if this was a concept right now? The name of the car would be Present S. Yeah, it would be Present S. You know why? Because the concept version of this car, when it was showcased 2 years back at the Auto Expo, was known as the Future S, but now it's in the present, so it will be the Present S. And once this car is discontinued, the concept would be known as the Past S. I know this is the worst joke you will ever hear in this freaking year, so hopefully this vlog goes live this year itself. Anyways, into fifth gear, okay, the traction levels, rather the tractability of the motor is so good that even in fifth gear, here I get into the throttle, there's no problem whatsoever. It just pulls so freaking well. There's no hesitation. There's no freaking hesitation in the full power band. That is the level of this engine, without a doubt the best small engine in the market right now. What a brilliant engine. It doesn't feel like a 3-cylinder in any way. Yeah, it is a 3-cylinder engine, and unless you keenly observe, you will not realize that this is a 3-cylinder engine. Such is the level of refinement, such is the level of performance, and even that 3-cylinderness, the thrumminess, that isn't there because it's so well contained. What a brilliant motor indeed. And Maruti has also worked very well on the mileage of this vehicle. This car returns a fuel economy upwards of 18 kilometers per litre, making it a very frugal vehicle indeed. So as I see it, the Maruti S-Presso is definitely a great mechanical package, because ride quality at low speeds is brilliant, easy to drive, easy to park, and the engine is such a freaking charm that I think we need to relaunch, because every time you launch, the amount of wheel spins it does is just staggering. Absolutely staggering indeed. Wow, Maruti, wow. if that is not wheel spin, I don't know what is. Okay, rather, if that is not wheel spin goals, I don't know what is. That is crazy amount of wheel spin on offer. The motor is so eager, it really pulls really fast and hard, and getting to a good pace is not a problem whatsoever because of the overall performance of this vehicle. Supremely impressive engine. In fact, the engine is really the highlight. The engine is the reason why you would pick the Maruti S-Presso over the Renault Kwid. Yes, that is right. The engine alone is such a freaking highlight here, such a freaking differentiator, and that is the reason why Maruti cars are so popular, because of the engine alone. Japanese engines, hard to beat without a doubt, especially the petrols are amazing indeed. And I love the whole powertrain, you know, even the gearbox is so much fun. The AMT, which is also available at an additional price of rupees 50,000 with the equivalent manual trim, that also is much improved in the S-Presso when compared to other AMTs offered by Maruti Suzuki, which makes the S-Presso such a practical buy. And there are 10 variants on offer. That's right, 10 freaking variants on offer. So there seems to be an S-Presso for every coffee lover out there right now. Pricing actually starts at rupees 4.35 lakhs. This car which I'm driving is priced at rupees 5.25 lakhs. Meanwhile, the top of the line automatic is priced at rupees 5.75 lakhs. Yeah, like I told you, 50,000 more. You won't believe this is the top of the line manual, and there are 3 variants above this for the automatic. And the variants are just so hodgy-podgy, you know, it's very difficult to understand because they're like compressed in such a small price range. Like I told you, the price ranges from 4.35 lakhs all the way till 5.75 lakhs. Now, all the prices I mentioned are on-road Mumbai. Yeah, they should have given it a tachometer because the motor revs so fast. Now you don't even know when you hit the red line. Now I've tried to buy hard all these things and more. So 45 kilometers per hour in first gear, 86 in second gear, something of that sort. Gets past 100 kilometers per hour in third gear. But honestly, the engine is so freaking awesome that you're going to spin the wheels each and every given moment, and you're just going to keep going faster and faster and faster until and unless you realize, yeah, the car is going in places where it should not be, because it's kind of a handful at higher speeds. The S-Presso then is a very practical car. Good amount of space on the inside, and definitely performance is splendid indeed. Ride quality is good at lower speeds. So Maruti has another winner on its hand. But there's only one thing which is going to stop you from buying one, is of course the way it looks. Yeah, the design is a love it or a hate it feeling. So if you love it, go ahead and buy it. If you hate it, well, there is a Renault Kwid, which is not as strong mechanically, but definitely is a looker of sorts. But then there is another caveat I need to say right away. The thing which I've noticed right now is that there are very few people who actually hate the design of the S-Presso, because wherever we have been driving this car, people have been coming, stopping and asking us, okay, which is this car, how is it, what's the price, what's the mileage like. That is the power of the Maruti brand. In fact, one of my friends, she has a Renault Duster. She exchanged her car. She gave me the Duster, and she took the S-Presso. How is the car? You love it? Yeah, she does. She does. She got the S-Presso, and you know, when she was driving it, she was, you know, singing along the Dhoom tune as well. That is how much she loves the S-Presso. But you can't blame her, because the performance of the car is absolutely scintillating. A small car whose engine puts a massive smile on your face because of the way it pulls. Absolutely unbelievable how a 3-cylinder engine can put a smile on your face. I'll tell you a secret. The Volkswagen Polo GT TSI does not need traction control, but the Maruti S-Presso definitely needs traction control, because the lack of traction or the massive pull right from the low end of the rev range makes the tires screech so much that Maruti should offer warranty on the tires as well. Anyways guys, this is my vlog of the Maruti S-Presso, a car which my teammate has actually taken from me and given her Duster because she loves it so much. Yeah, it's a stunner in terms of performance, and she has aptly named hers as the Lamborghini Urus. Bye bye. अभी ले लो, चलो अपनी गाड़ी.